If you want to understand why colon cancer is now being diagnosed in people in their 20s and 30s, when it used to be rare before age 50, don't look at genetics. Look at what's on their plate and what's missing from it. Most people think stage 4 cancer means game over, that once cancer spreads, it's a death sentence, and that food has no real impact on cancer outcomes. But after nearly 15 years in emergency medicine and working closely with oncology patients, I've witnessed something that contradicts everything we were taught. Advanced stage 4 colon cancer can be reversed to stage 0 using your own immune system, and the foods you eat can literally starve tumors by cutting off their blood supply. A cancer without blood vessels cannot grow larger than the tip of a ballpoint pen, but give that tumor a blood supply, and it explodes to 16,000 times its original size in just 14 days. Hi, I'm Dr. Becker. I'm an emergency medicine physician, and after years of seeing younger and younger patients diagnosed with colon cancer, patients who should have decades of healthy life ahead of them, I realized something deeply troubling. The rise in colon cancer among young adults isn't genetic, it's environmental. It's what we're eating and what we're not eating. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to activate your body's natural cancer-fighting defenses to prevent colon cancer and how patients with advanced disease are achieving complete remission. We'll explore why colon cancer rates have skyrocketed in young people, the revolutionary immunotherapy treatments that turn stage 4 into stage 0, how your gut bacteria determine whether cancer treatments work or fail, the specific foods that starve tumors by blocking blood vessel growth, and most importantly, the exact dietary protocol you can start today that reduces your colon cancer risk by up to 40%. Quick favor. I see messages from people who've watched several of my videos and didn't realize they weren't subscribed. Could you double check right now? It's free, takes 2 seconds, and it helps this channel reach more people like you who want real science-based health information. Let me start with something that should alarm everyone. When I was in medical school 20 years ago, colon cancer in someone under 50 was unusual enough to be presented at grand rounds. Now, I'm seeing patients in their 30s, 20s, even teenagers diagnosed with colorectal cancer. The incidence in people under 50 has increased by approximately 50% over the past 3 decades. Something has fundamentally changed in our environment, and the evidence points overwhelmingly to diet and lifestyle. Only a small minority of cancers, maybe 10 to 15%, are primarily driven by inherited genetic mutations. The vast majority are caused by environmental factors interacting with our biology. So what's changed? We're eating more processed foods than ever in human history. We're consuming massive amounts of processed meats, hot dogs, deli meats, bacon, sausage, all classified by the World Health Organization as Group 1 carcinogens. That's the same category as cigarettes. These foods don't just increase cancer risk slightly. Heavy consumption of processed meats is associated with an 18% increased risk of colorectal cancer for every 50 grams consumed daily. That's about 2 slices of deli meat. Think about what happens when you eat processed meat. It travels through your digestive system and parks in your colon for hours before being eliminated. While it's sitting there, compounds in the meat, nitrosamines, heterocyclic amines, hemi-iron, create an inflammatory environment that damages the cells lining your colon. Chronic inflammation is the foundation for cancer development. Your cells are constantly trying to repair damage, and when that repair process is overwhelmed, mutations accumulate. But diet isn't the only culprit. Sedentary lifestyle is a massive risk factor. When you sit all day without moving, your metabolism slows, inflammation increases, your gut bacteria become unhealthy, and your immune system weakens. Regular movement, even just walking 30 minutes daily, improves gut motility, reduces inflammation, and strengthens immune surveillance. Then there's smoking and vaping. People think vaping is safer than cigarettes. Wrong. The chemicals in vaping liquids are in some ways more toxic than tobacco smoke, and they absolutely increase colorectal cancer risk. Alcohol is another major factor. Even moderate alcohol consumption increases colon cancer risk through multiple mechanisms, including DNA damage and disruption of folate metabolism. Now here's what ties all these risk factors together. They all suppress your immune system. Your immune system is one of your body's 5 critical health defense systems, and it's arguably the most important for cancer prevention. Think of your immune system like a police force constantly patrolling your body, looking for trouble. You have specialized immune cells called natural killer cells, and T cells that are essentially elite soldiers, trained to identify and destroy abnormal cells, including cancer cells. Right now, as you're watching this, you have microscopic clusters of cancer cells forming in your body. This is normal. With 40 trillion cells constantly dividing, copy errors happen. Some of those errors create cells that are technically cancerous, but your immune system finds them and eliminates them before they become dangerous. It's like having security cameras and armed guards protecting a building. Most threats get neutralized before they cause any damage. However, when your immune system is weakened by poor diet, lack of exercise, smoking, excess alcohol, chronic stress, those microscopic cancers can escape detection. Once they escape immune surveillance, they still face another barrier. They need blood vessels. A tumor without access to blood supply is frozen in size. It can grow to about 2 to 3 millimeters in diameter, roughly the size of the tip of a ballpoint pen, and then it stops. No oxygen, no nutrients, no growth. Your body naturally tries to prevent blood vessels from reaching tumors through a process called anti-angiogenesis. Angiogenesis simply means the growth of new blood vessels. Your body tightly regulates this because you need just the right amount. Too few blood vessels and tissues die from lack of oxygen. Too many blood vessels and you get problems like diabetic blindness, where excessive vessel growth in the eye causes vision loss. Think of blood vessel growth like maintaining a lawn at the perfect height. Not too long, not too short, just right. That's the Goldilocks zone your body maintains. But here's what makes cancer so dangerous. Cancer cells can hijack your angiogenesis system. They release growth factors, proteins that act like fertilizer, stimulating new blood vessels to grow directly into the tumor. The moment those blood vessels connect, everything changes. Research has measured this precisely. In laboratory studies, when blood vessels are prevented from ever reaching a microscopic tumor, it remains harmless indefinitely. But when blood vessels are allowed to penetrate that tumor, it grows 16,000 times larger in approximately 2 weeks. That's explosive, exponential growth fueled by access to oxygen and nutrients. Now, understanding these mechanisms is critical because it reveals exactly where we can intervene, but that's only part of the picture. The most exciting development in cancer treatment in the past decade is immunotherapy, and it's revolutionizing how we treat colon cancer. Immunotherapy doesn't kill cancer cells directly like chemotherapy does. Instead, it activates your own immune system to attack cancer. Cancer cells are clever. They develop ways to hide from your immune system, like wearing an invisibility cloak. They express proteins on their surface that essentially tell immune cells, "I'm normal, don't attack me." These proteins are called checkpoints. Immunotherapy drugs, specifically checkpoint inhibitors, strip away that cloak. They block the checkpoint proteins, exposing the cancer cells, so your immune system can recognize and destroy them. The results can be nothing short of remarkable. Patients with stage 4 colon cancer, meaning the cancer has spread to distant organs, can achieve complete remission. Stage 4 to stage 0, not everyone responds, and that's a major focus of current research, but when it works, it's transformative. One of the most widely used checkpoint inhibitors is pembrolizumab, marketed as Keytruda. There are others like nivolumab and ipilimumab. These drugs are given as infusions, typically every 3 weeks. They can be used alone or combined with chemotherapy, depending on the specific cancer characteristics. Now here's where it gets interesting. Not all colon cancers respond to immunotherapy. Your oncologist will test your tumor tissue for specific markers that predict response. One key marker is called microsatellite instability, or MSI. Tumors with high microsatellite instability, abbreviated MSIH, are much more likely to respond to checkpoint inhibitors. This is because MSIH tumors have lots of mutations, making them more recognizable to the immune system once the checkpoint blockade is removed. Another marker is PD-L1 expression. PD-L1 is one of those checkpoint proteins I mentioned. If your tumor expresses high levels of PD-L1, checkpoint inhibitors that target this protein are more likely to work. If you or someone you know is diagnosed with colon cancer, you should absolutely ask your doctor whether your tumor has been tested for MSI status and PD-L1 expression. These tests determine eligibility for immunotherapy, which could be life-saving. The second mechanism is even more important for understanding how to support cancer treatment with nutrition. In 2017, groundbreaking research from the Gustave Roussy Cancer Center in France studied 200 cancer patients receiving immunotherapy. Some patients had remarkable responses. Their tumors shrank or disappeared completely. Other patients didn't respond at all. The researchers wanted to know why. They analyzed every variable they could think of: genetics, age, tumor type, prior treatments. The only significant difference between responders and non-responders was the composition of their gut bacteria. Specifically, patients who responded to immunotherapy had high levels of a bacteria called Akkermansia mucinifila. Patients without Akkermansia didn't respond. This was published in the journal Science, and it fundamentally changed how we think about cancer treatment. Here's what makes this so important. Akkermansia is a beneficial bacteria that lives in the mucous layer lining your intestinal wall. It's considered a guardian bacteria because it strengthens your gut barrier, reduces inflammation, and critically, it primes your immune system to fight cancer more effectively. When researchers took Akkermansia from responding patients and transplanted it into laboratory animals that weren't responding to immunotherapy, those animals suddenly started responding. The bacteria made the difference. Now think about what this means practically. If you're receiving immunotherapy, having robust Akkermansia populations in your gut could determine whether the treatment saves your life or fails. If you want to prevent cancer, maintaining healthy Akkermansia supports optimal immune function. The challenge is that Akkermansia is easily wiped out. A single course of antibiotics can reduce Akkermansia levels to near zero. It takes weeks to months to rebuild the population. So how do you grow Akkermansia naturally? You feed it with specific foods. Akkermansia thrives on compounds called L-argitannins, found in pomegranates, cranberries, and walnuts. Studies show that consuming 8 ounces of pomegranate juice daily can increase Akkermansia levels 6-fold within 3 weeks. Other foods that support Akkermansia growth include oats and oatmeal, dried chili peppers like the flakes you put on pizza, and Chinese black vinegar. Wait until you hear what I discovered about the specific dietary protocol that optimizes your gut bacteria for cancer prevention. The third pathway involves direct tumor starvation through anti-angiogenesis. Remember, cutting off blood supply stops cancer growth. Pharmaceutical companies have invested billions developing drugs that block tumor blood vessel growth. Drugs like bevacizumab, marketed as Avastin, are now standard treatments for colorectal cancer and many other cancers. They work by blocking a protein called VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, which tumors release to stimulate blood vessel formation. But here's something that shocked the research community. When scientists test foods using the same laboratory assays used to develop anti-angiogenic drugs, many foods show comparable blood vessel blocking activity. Green tea extract is so potent at inhibiting abnormal blood vessel growth that if researchers didn't know it came from a plant, they would immediately advance it to clinical trials. The active compounds are catechins, particularly one called EGCG. Other foods with powerful anti-angiogenic properties include tomatoes, which contain lycopene, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, and Brussels sprouts that contain isothiocyanates and sulforaphane, soy foods containing genistein, olive oil with hydroxytyrosol, and omega-3 rich seafood. These aren't weak effects. Population studies show that people who consume high amounts of these foods have dramatically lower cancer rates. A study following 68,000 women for over 10 years found that those who drank green tea at least 3 times weekly had a 27% lower risk of colorectal cancer. Daily green tea drinkers had even better outcomes. That's a massive risk reduction from a simple dietary habit. So now that you understand the mechanisms behind cancer prevention and treatment, the question is, what can you actually do about it? What are the specific foods and exact amounts you need? Let me give you the precise protocol based on the research and what I recommend to patients at high risk for colon cancer. The foundation is dietary fiber. This is non-negotiable. Fiber feeds your beneficial gut bacteria, reduces inflammation, speeds up transit time, so carcinogens spend less time in contact with your colon lining and directly supports immune function. A landmark study on melanoma patients receiving immunotherapy found that for every 5 to 6 grams of dietary fiber consumed daily, mortality decreased by 30%. 5 to 6 grams is the amount in one medium pair. The current recommendation is at least 25 to 30 grams of fiber daily for women and 30 to 38 grams for men. Most Americans consume less than 15 grams. You need to double or triple your fiber intake. The best sources are beans and legumes. Black beans, pinto beans, white beans, chickpeas, lentils all provide approximately 15 grams of fiber per cup when cooked. Eat beans at least 4 times per week, ideally daily. 1 cup of cooked beans gives you half your daily fiber requirement. If you're not used to eating beans, start slowly to avoid digestive discomfort. Begin with half a cup 3 times per week and gradually increase. Whole grains are another excellent fiber source. Oatmeal, brown rice, quinoa, whole wheat, barley all contribute significant fiber. 1 cup of cooked oatmeal provides about 4 grams of fiber and supports Akkermansia growth. Fruits and vegetables obviously contain fiber, but you need larger volumes to hit your targets. Berries, apples, pears, all good choices. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and kale provide both fiber and cancer-fighting compounds. The second critical component is polyphenols. These are plant compounds that feed beneficial gut bacteria, reduce inflammation, and have direct anti-cancer effects. The best sources are deeply colored fruits and vegetables. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, all rich in anthocyanins. Aim for 1 to 2 cups of mixed berries daily. Pomegranate, either as fresh fruit or pure juice with no added sugar, provides L-glutanins that grow Akkermansia. 4 to 8 ounces of pomegranate juice daily or half a fresh pomegranate. Green tea, 3 cups daily brewed properly. Heat water to about 175 degrees, not quite boiling. Steep for 3 to 5 minutes. Don't add dairy milk as the proteins bind to the beneficial catechins. Adding lemon juice increases absorption. Coffee also counts. Regular coffee consumption is associated with lower colorectal cancer risk. 2 to 3 cups daily provides chlorogenic acid and other beneficial compounds. Extra virgin olive oil, 2 to 4 tablespoons daily. Use it on salads, vegetables, or just take it by the spoonful. The polyphenols in high-quality olive oil, hydroxytyrosol, and oleocanthal are powerfully anti-inflammatory and anti-angiogenic. Dark chocolate at 70% cacao or higher, about 30 grams or 2 small squares daily, provides flavonoids that support vascular health and have anti-cancer properties. The third component is omega-3 fatty acids. We used to think you could only get meaningful amounts from salmon and fatty fish, but research shows that even whitefish like cod and halibut and shellfish like shrimp, mussels, and clams contain beneficial omega-3s. These fats are anti-inflammatory and anti-angiogenic. Aim for at least 3 servings of seafood per week. A serving is about 4 ounces cooked. If you're vegetarian or vegan, focus on ground flaxseed, 2 to 4 tablespoons daily, chia seeds, walnuts, and consider an algae-based omega-3 supplement that provides EPA and DHA directly. The fourth component is cruciferous vegetables, and here's a critical detail most people miss. Broccoli sprouts are exponentially more powerful than mature broccoli. The 3 to 4 day old seedlings contain 100 times more sulforaphane than fully grown broccoli. Sulforaphane activates your body's detoxification systems and has direct anti-cancer effects. A small handful of broccoli sprouts, about a quarter cup, 3 to 4 times per week, provides more benefit than eating pounds of mature broccoli. You can buy sprouts at many grocery stores or grow them yourself in a jar in 4 days. If you can't find sprouts, eat regular broccoli but focus on the stems, which have twice the sulforaphane as the florets. Lightly steam for 3 to 4 minutes to maximize bioavailability. Never boil as it destroys sulforaphane. The fifth component is soy foods. There's persistent misinformation that soy is dangerous because of phytoestrogens. This is completely wrong. The phytoestrogens in soy, primarily genistein, actually block human estrogen receptors and have protective effects against hormone-related cancers. genistein, is also one of the most potent anti-angiogenic compounds ever tested, blocking tumor blood vessel growth by over 70% in experimental models. Population studies consistently show that high soy consumption is associated with lower cancer rates. Aim for 2 to 3 servings of whole soy foods per week. Tofu, tempeh, edamame, unsweetened soy milk, all excellent choices. Avoid highly processed soy protein isolates. Stick with whole food forms. Now here are my pro tips from 15 years of clinical practice for maximizing these protective effects. Timing matters. Your gut bacteria and immune system are most active at night while you sleep. Consume your fiber-rich foods and polyphenols throughout the day, so nutrients are available when these systems are doing their heavy lifting. Don't eat large meals within 3 hours of bedtime, as active digestion interferes with cellular repair and immune surveillance. Consistency beats intensity. Eating a cup of beans once a week doesn't help. Eating half a cup of beans 6 days a week transforms your gut microbiome. Same with green tea, berries, all of it. Daily consistency creates sustained activation of protective pathways. Preparation methods dramatically affect nutrient availability. Tomatoes should be cooked because heat releases lycopene. Raw tomatoes provide minimal lycopene. Tomato sauce, paste, and roasted tomatoes are ideal. Add olive oil when cooking tomatoes because lycopene is fat-soluble. Cruciferous vegetables should be lightly steamed or eaten raw. Overcooking destroys sulforaphane. With green tea, water temperature and steeping time matter. Too hot and you destroy catechins. Too cool and you don't extract them. 175 degrees for 3 to 5 minutes is optimal. Variety creates synergy. Don't just eat blueberries. Rotate between blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. Each contains different anthocyanins that work together. Don't just eat black beans. Rotate beans, lentils, chickpeas. Different fibers feed different bacteria. The diversity of your diet directly determines the diversity of your gut microbiome, and microbiome diversity predicts health outcomes. If you're currently receiving treatment for cancer, these dietary strategies can support treatment effectiveness. But this is not about replacing medical care. This is about optimizing your body's response to treatment. Work with your oncologist. Make sure they know what you're eating. Some foods can interact with certain chemotherapy drugs, though most interactions are beneficial. If you're concerned about preventing cancer, especially if you have family history, these foods should be the foundation of your daily diet. You don't need perfection. You need consistency with the high-impact foods. Beans or legumes daily, berries daily, green tea or coffee daily, cruciferous vegetables at least 4 times weekly, seafood at least 3 times weekly, extra virgin olive oil daily. That covers your bases. The biggest mistake I see is people thinking they need to overhaul their entire life overnight. Start with one change. Add a cup of beans to your lunch or dinner. Do that consistently for 2 weeks. Then add a cup of berries at breakfast. 2 more weeks. Then add 3 cups of green tea. Build gradually. Sustainable change happens slowly. Another mistake is assuming supplements can replace whole foods. You can buy fiber supplements, omega-3 capsules, polyphenol extracts. These have their place, especially if you genuinely can't access certain whole foods. But supplements provide isolated compounds. Whole foods provide hundreds of compounds working synergistically. A cup of blueberries contains not just anthocyanins, but also vitamin C, vitamin K, manganese, fiber, and dozens of other polyphenols that enhance each other's effects. That synergy cannot be replicated in a capsule. The whole food is always more powerful. One more critical point. If you have digestive symptoms, blood in your stool, persistent changes in bowel habits, unexplained weight loss, get screened. Don't wait. Colon cancer is highly treatable when caught early, but deadly when diagnosed late. Screening guidelines now recommend colonoscopy starting at age 45 for average risk individuals. Earlier if you have risk factors. If you're experiencing symptoms, don't wait until you hit the age threshold. Talk to your doctor immediately. Look, colon cancer doesn't have to be an inevitable part of aging, and stage 4 disease doesn't have to be a death sentence. The patients I see who prevent cancer or who achieve remission from advanced disease aren't genetically superior. They're not lucky. They consistently support their body's natural defense systems with the right nutrition. Your immune system can recognize and destroy cancer cells if you give it the support it needs. Your body can prevent blood vessels from feeding tumors if you eat foods that activate anti-angiogenic pathways. Your gut bacteria can prime your immune system to respond to treatment if you feed those bacteria properly. These systems exist in you right now. The question is whether you're activating them or suppressing them with your daily choices. Here's what we've covered. Colon cancer rates are rising dramatically in young people due to diet and lifestyle factors, primarily processed meat consumption, sedentary behavior, and poor gut health. Your immune system is constantly eliminating microscopic cancers, but it needs support to function optimally. Tumors cannot grow without blood vessel access, and foods can block tumor angiogenesis just as effectively as some pharmaceutical drugs. Immunotherapy can reverse even stage 4 cancer by activating your immune system, but effectiveness depends heavily on your gut bacteria composition. Akkermansia mucinifila is a key bacteria that determines immunotherapy response, and it's grown by consuming pomegranate, cranberries, oats, and other specific foods. The core dietary protocol includes 25 to 38 grams of fiber daily from beans, legumes, and whole grains, 1 to 2 cups of berries daily, 3 cups of green tea, or 2 to 3 cups of coffee daily, 3 servings of seafood weekly, cruciferous vegetables, especially broccoli sprouts, at least 4 times weekly, 2 to 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil daily, and 2 to 3 servings of whole soy foods weekly. Consistency and proper preparation matter more than perfection. Your cancer risk is not predetermined by your genes. It's influenced enormously by what you choose to eat every single day. If you found this helpful, please subscribe and give this video a like. It helps me reach more people like you who want real, science-based information about preventing disease and supporting treatment. I'll see you in the next one.